Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the latest session for today. This is a React testing. And today we will talk about tests in React, but let's quick reminder about all type of testing which we have in JavaScript, right? Depending on our purposes. So we have unit testing. Unit testing, we are using unit tests in order to test some small piece of code, if we might say in simple words. So we are testing them some component, for example, or small components, some function if we need it. So we're just for separate pieces of code. Then we have integration testing. Integration testing, this is testing helps us to check whether if for example two models working correctly. So for example we have a table. Let's imagine that in our applications has some table in some page, and we might print this page. So if we would like to check how data is uploaded to the file from this table, this will be integration testing. It's maybe simplest way how to clarify this. Then we have a functional testing. In this type of testing, the most important type of testing is our application matches with the business requirements. So it not means that we are checking our functions or components. We're checking is how our application works. Is it everything's like our customer is expected? So then we have end-to-end testing. So this type of testing is, let's say, copy the behavior of the user when he working with our application, website, no matter. This type of testing copying how our user end-to-end testing. This is a type of testing when we are copying behavior of the user in our application and check is everything's okay. What will be if he click incorrect button? Will be any problem after such kind of testing, of such behaviors, and so on. Then acceptance testing, as I remember it's called in English.
End-to-end testing,
yeah.
Excuse me. We shall explore Cypress framework. It's a
not sure.
Popular.
Cypress?
Cypress for end-to-end testing.
Yeah. So for each of these okay, I see what you're talking about. Cypress. I just didn't work with integration testing, and you are talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't mention that for each purposes we might use different testing frameworks. So as Mikhail mentioned, for end-to-end testing, we are using Cypress. For unit testing, it will be enough, like Jasmine, maybe Mocha, right? But it's for React application, for example, which I know. Some testing frameworks not appropriate for functional testing or for end-to-end testing or oh my god, forgot when we're measuring how we measure how the test is hard. No, you know the. No. One moment. So we also have one of the type of testing. Let's continue and then try to remember. So I've just switched, but yeah, for each type of this testing, we might use different frameworks. Not all of them we might use we cannot use only one testing frameworks for all type of tests, right? So we should use just different type of frameworks. Forgot this word even in English. Maybe acceptance testing. Yeah, remember. So acceptance testing. This is a testing where we check in our performance or our application. Is it how our website is dealing with many of users, for example? It's actually for end-to-end testing and acceptance testing. They are, they are running not every time, as I know, because it's expensive. And for example, acceptance testing, it's long time, as I remember, to testing our application. So usually and you know what else? Performance testing, acceptance testing, performance testing. I think I've confused them, right? Performance testing with acceptance testing. Yeah, performance testing. This is a test which is where we're checking our performance of our website, for example, and acceptance testing. This is a testing where we're checking is the system matches with the business requirements. I think I must say like this. Then I think I left only one. Performance and smoke testing, yes. So smoke test, this is a really easiest type of testing when you just go in. This smoke test we are using to check is our uploaded application is working correct. So it means you don't need to check all functionality. You just go into, for example, you uploaded your website to the server and you need to check, is it working or not? So what you understanding of checking, it depends on each application, but you just go into your website and see, is it uploaded? So you might see that 503 status code of your website. It means you have some issues on your server. Then if successfully uploaded like this site, so let's imagine that this is our website. What we are checking, is it scrolling? Yeah, we see that it's scrolling and the information appears. Then we're going to navigation menu and check few pages, right? So we are seeing that here in URL, our address has changed. Then we are seeing that the information changed, and we might check sign up, sign in login form for our application. And if you are buying something on this website, usually it's checking, can we buy something? Is it possible to buy something or not? That will be enough for smoke tests. So just quick checking, is it works or not? Yes, so that's all types of testing which we have. We have also the pyramid. Yeah, like this. it means that maybe this all steps. This is a functional testing. This like this. So first, when we I understand at least it like when we are developing our application. Usually, it's like from the bottom to the top. If we would like to have a good coverage of tests in our application, and it means that when we're developing our functionality, we're using unit tests in our application, which we usually discuss in our courses, in any other courses. So we are writing unit tests. Then usually integration tests and UI tests. This part, in my experience at least, usually works with this part. Usually works QA team, engineering. So they are running this type of tests. Sometimes we might do the same, but not usually. It's not a very often frequent practice. So and this is a pyramid when what is showing us that the unit testing, like a basis, and integrational testing really important in our application, and UI tests, they are this is like the difference, the latest steps in the application, what we need to check usually, right? So if we try to explain in the process of the project, so this we are written in order to check small functions or components. Then when you merge your changes to the branches, the QA team, they're usually getting and checking some UI or unit tests. Usually it's integrational test combination with UI tests. They're checking how you develop something and also checking how it works with other different components. So I think something like this. Maybe Mikhail or Alexei might add something. I don't know. Okay.
I think just enough.
Yes. Okay. So and let's get back to the our React. So what we might think, what we can tell about the tests in React, as you understand, usually we having the combination Jest and React testing library in our application. Jest is a JavaScript test runner that let us accept access to the DOM via JS DOM. And the React testing library, it is a set of helpers that let us test React component without relying on their implementation details. So they are working together. They cannot work in separate. So for if we must say, for the so sometimes some of us might confuse the tools for testing in React, but React testing library isn't an alternative to Jest. Just telling another word. Why? Because they need each other, and every one of them has a clear task. So in modern React, developers will not get around Jest for testing because it's the most popular testing framework out there for JavaScript application. Apart from being a test runner, which you can run with npm test. So let's say, maybe in another word, when you're installing your application, if you're running your React application from the command npx create run application with, let's say, my React application, usually jest and jest included in your package dependency, and I don't remember. As I understand, the React test library is not, right? In by default. Mikhail, Alexei. Yeah, so as I remember, React testing library isn't included in default, right? Application, so I can't see it here.
No, if we, it's included. It's been included if you use create React app by default.
Okay. Yeah. So and just what I should add in the introduction part one things. Yeah. So we might use these tools. They will help you effectively to work with testing in React application. They works together. They help each other, but they are not separate. Separate libraries, and once again, just this is runners for which is letting us to access to a DOM via JS DOM, and the React testing library. This is, as I said, set of helpers that let us test React component without relying on their implementation details. So, and let's quick take a look at this example, and I will show you a few methods with how to work with jest. I think because you had a previous React, or not React, sorry, you had in first stage testing, you should know some methods, but we will take a look at just a few examples. And for example, here in this example, we have two files. We have, let's imagine that we have two files where we have increment function, which is add 1 plus 1 to the variables, and we have a calculation function add, which is add a plus b. And we would like to write a test for these functions, right? So what it means? It means that we are starting. First, we need to import our functions, which we would like to test, right? Then we are writing our test, which is started with describe. Describe helps us to group together some similar tests. Here we are providing the name of our group of tests, and in each section or in the test section, we are testing our small pieces of code. I forgot to add that the first component, this is the name of group test of the group, right? So in the second parameter, this is a function which is providing us, which is help us to test. So in the section it, we have similar approaches. We have a name of the section. This is a test. This is like a small module where we. So this is a test. This is the places where we write in our test, right? So the same name of the test and the function of function where we writing our test. Here we expect that from the function increment, the result will be 2. With increment 1, if we providing variables 1 here, the result will be 2. And in a test should add, we are seeing that they are expecting that function in order to calculate 2 plus 3, the result will be 5. So this is how the test usually is looking in a very simple way. And let's take a look at the maybe other examples. And let me find my examples. Why I usually seriously, why I usually closing my notes? So let's take a look at the matchers first, like this. So here we have a bunch of set different of matchers. We've talked a little bit about to be. You might also, for me, here is the most popular, be to be to equal. I really often see them in applications. To be close to. Maybe to be null. Usually it's not really popular natures in the applications. And let's take a look at the few of them. Okay, so as I said, let's write first test. First, we should test so the first example was with to be, right? So test at function, but let's say not like function function. I just would like to show you how the method, the matchers is working. It works. So for example, we expect that, let's say that A, it will be 2, and the B will be 3. And we expect that the sum of these two variables, A plus B, to be 5. So how we can run our tests? Let's take a look. And usually in a package JSON, you see some scripts command. And here, especially is if it's a generated application for React, you definitely see the test script. Then you need to run this command and see. Here we have only a test. So here we have a test ensued. Oh yes, I didn't mention about maybe about tests. Here is a test suite, right? What is this, right? The test suite, this is, where is it? Here, let's close it. So where is the describe block? If we would like to describe a block, then not like this. If we would like to have some test block, we usually put it in a test. So this is a colon test suite. The test block is we also might call like test case. A test suite can have multiple test cases, and a test case doesn't have to be in a test suite. That's one important thing. So what you put into the test cases are called assertions, and one more add like this. Yeah, so what you put into the test cases are called assertions, which either turns out to be successful or erroneous. Yes, erroneous, it means it will be red. So if we try to fail here a test, we see that our compilation will be failed. And we see where it was an error. I will create you more. So here was successful result, right? This is successful test cases, but in this case, if we fail something, we just easily see where, in which places, and we will see the number of tests which will be failed. Okay, maybe I forgot something, or you had questions. Okay, seems like guys is taking care about the questions. Okay, so let's get back with our 5. And let's continue, right? Maybe like this. Let's continue with the test. My examples, where I lost up again my examples. Why it's usually so about to be uses to be so in this code expect a plus b returns an expectation object. Typically we won't do much with this expectation object except call matchers of them. In this code, to be is a matcher, and when the runners when jest runs, it track all the failing matchers so that it can be printed out as you see in the console. So then another example. Okay, like let's do this. Test. Let's go assignment, and we have. Let's imagine that we have a constant data, and let's it be an object, and we add something here like this. So we expect that data let's take a look at another method to equal like object with 2 also. So just see. Usually, actually, so we usually here we might check some function which is return something. So like this. Actually, here is incorrect to write a function, but let's imagine function not like this, assignment function, and this is really most often cases how you could see this. So to equal, you should use to equal if you would like to check value of the object. So the to equal recursively checks every field of an object or array. So then let's continue with difficult words for truthiness, maybe better like this. So usually in test we might, if you would like to check is this value be null or undefined, true or false, you might use these methods. And like this, check truth, and which method help us check this. So let's imagine that we have we have a constant which will be null. How we can check is it null or not in our test? To be null. This is the easiest way to check is it null or not. So if we would like to check is it undefined, we are using undefined. If we would like to check is this constant will be defined, we will use defined method. Then we might use to be true, not like this, true C. And if you would like to check is it true or not, and falsy. And we will see that we should have a few mistakes actually. Yeah. So to be undefined. So now isn't undefined, right? So if we would like to check if it will be undefined here, it will be okay. But we shouldn't. We should check that this variable is not undefined, isn't equal undefined. So we just put not to be undefined, and then it will be correct. The same for the truthy, because now it's definitely not true, right? And it's all now it's false. So is it okay right now? Yes, we see that our test pass. So for the numbers, usually I just not waste any, in order to not waste time. For the numbers, we might check the same methods for to be greater than or equal, for less than or equal, close to. Maybe it's better to take a look at this example because I think it's you easily can understand, right? So to be close to, let's take a look at this. Let's imagine close to. Let's imagine that we have value and the value is float numbers. And let's delete this. We expect that this value will be close to 0.03. So the same, actually, right? That's how it works. This method to be 0.3 not works because of rounding errors. See, receiving but expecting. So it's definitely incorrect, and we shouldn't use in such way to be close to. Okay, about string. Yeah, we have too much. Example maybe. This method is okay. String, and let's imagine that we will delete and this too. We have word team and we would like to check is it match with a word stop. It should fails, right? Yeah, it's incorrect. So let's check, is it team stop? Yeah, now it's correct. So these phrases contains this this part. So erase. To contain usually a method which we would like to use, and we can check if an array or iterable contains a particular item. So like this, a small example. Sorry, I didn't put some signs, but just quick array, and we have apple. Oh, sorry. Apple, milk, ice cream, paper, no matter, actually. And we would like to check, is it array contains something specific. Contain, and here we might put just milk and check. It's as I understand, as you my guess, just in order to check is our array contains expected result or not. So what else? Exceptions to throw. If you want to test whether a particular function throws an error when it's called, then we are using to throw. And let's take a look at the most important. So this is for matchers, for the numbers and simplest part, right? But let's take a look at the matchers. I think it might be more interesting for you if we are working with the promises. So for example, I show you just a few examples. I hope it helps you to work with the promises. So test data promise. Oh no, like let's async await age like this. Error function, and let's see const data that we have so maybe it might be like we have a function with in order to test it, we need a promise, right? So we should create a promise. So fetch data, return new, not new promise, and so with the promises, right? Yeah, we just need a promise. We just yeah, let it be with the console log resolve reject yeah, the better will be set timeout and then resolve. Yeah, correct. Test data after 1 second. Okay, and then what we need to get this, right? Await I think yeah, and fetch data. Okay, I think it wasn't correct for me. Sorry. I think like this. Yeah. Then we should expect data, and we just using to be. Oh no, not to be close to, just to be, and we are waiting this result. Let's check it. Yeah, it's correct. Runs. Yeah, everything's okay. Okay, then I just want to, what else? Which, oh yes, I can show you, like with resolve and async await with resolve and reject, okay? So the test with async and await with resolve and reject. So the async is still here, but we'll write that await. We are waiting our function here, the result of our function, and we resolves and to be a test data. If we add like we reject test data reject, after 2 seconds we might check, and even with the reject we just put here reject. Oh no incorrect, rejects, and now it should be failed, right? Because on the reject we are wasting this message. Let's see. Yeah, failed, and we have an exception. Let's easily to fix it, and voila, we are here. So what else? Yeah, and we also might have assertions. So if we no, it's better not. It's complicated. I don't like any cases with try catch. Actually, we might also catch the. So we might use some kind of syntaxes like this, but actually I don't use. No, it's not a good experience to use try catch. It's used for some cases, but not like good. It's not good. So we might expect sessions seems like I have an error here, and incorrect this sessions 1, and you might try to catch error. Might say like this, fetch data, and here in the catch here should be error, and if we expect some errors from the function, here it should be reject, so we might to match but I don't remember exactly what. It should be, as I guess, this message. Why is incorrect? Ah, no. Okay. Okay. It seems like it should be the first. The function, the test. So how can I? So usually we're using this type of tests for checking some promises, data from the promises. With assertions, it's not a really popular method. If we're expecting promises that could be rejected, we we usually using, like catch for the promises, right? Not, maybe it's confused. So what is the expected sessions? We use expected sessions to verify that that a certain number of sessions that certain number of sessions are called. So otherwise, the fulfilled promises would not fail the test, and don't remember how we can how to call assertions more correctly. Don't have just a good example. So maybe why it's called? Because it should be called anywhere, right? One failed. Why? Why it's not like this? Okay, cannot. I just think about it, and I will maybe the solution came up in my mind, but I would like to show you also callbacks. And so for callbacks, like this. Okay, so let's imagine that we have a function callback they are error data. So if we have errors here, we catch this error, and then if not, then we expect the data to be with this data. Like this. And fetch data callback. Yeah. So so why it fails? The problem here, so as once again, we are checking, is it callbacks? In this callback, if we have errors, we are providing errors. We're catching this into a throw in our throw error. And if not, we're checking, is the data correct or not? So the problem that the test why here appears an error. So the problem that the test will complete as soon as fetch data completes before ever calling the callback. There is an alternative form of test that fixes this. Instead, putting the test in a function with an empty argument we are using single argument which is called done. Just we'll wait until the done callback is called before finish the test. So how it looks, usually it's here, done, we're putting, and before, then done, here we put in error, just changing a bit to return, it will be okay, and then try, let's use try catch, and then expect this data and telling that it's done again, right? And catch. Error. Then if it's error, then we will done with this error. And like this. And then we will not see the error in these cases. We shouldn't see the error. Ah, okay. Okay. Let me comment it. Checked. Once again, to be data. It seems like I need to modify the function fetching data. Yeah. Okay, let's wait. Let's take a look like this. What is here? Console. Because I don't remember what will be here. Expected test data, but here is undefined. Callbacks, no. Actually, yeah, we don't have any callback there. Console log undefined and undefined, yeah. And it seems like we need to rewrite a bit this function with callback. Yeah, you know why? Because I forgot. Because I forgot that, let's imagine that we have. I forgot that we should rewrite fetch function because we are using right now it with a callback. And it's better to create fetch function once again, but let's call it a bit different function, fetch data callback. like this, and we will so like this. Go back. Is it okay right now? No, no. Of course no, because it's incorrect. Give me a second, guys. Maybe wow, you have a huge chat in messages. Okay, so callback function. I need a small help because need to fix this. Who remember how to write callback functions? Just maybe like this, callback, and here and here, error data, like this.
Yeah, like this. Yeah. Just put your data inside callback.
Like this, right? As I remember.
Yeah, callback, and you put your data which you want to take from callback. You put this inside arguments.
And don't understand, sorry. Inside arguments here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like this. But
yes.
We should define them, as I remember, not? Or not? Yeah, we definitely should define them.
Let me see. In the test, you should call fetch data callback and paste the function as a callback. And then you got your arguments.
Yeah, I'm talking about, no, I'm talking about the fetch data callback function, how to define this function in order to show the example. Just okay, I think it might be like this. Const error and not const let and let data. Maybe it works. No. Callback. Why it's callback isn't a function? I don't like just.
In the test you should call fetch data callback, and in the test you should create this another function like callback. And
yes, I've created this.
Oh,
yes,
sorry, I
it's
didn't
okay.
see.
But it seems like it should be like this.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see this line. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So now it's undefined and undefined still. So I see. You know what? Here should be error. And here we can put this data. Yeah, forgot about this implementation. Almost. So now it should be, yeah, error and test data. See? And here we have a failed with errors. This error done error. Why don't failed error? Yeah, it's okay, right? Right now it's okay because we have error. It's error, but if we put here now, then it will be pass. Yeah, yes. Oh, thanks, guys, for the help. Yeah, so once again, if we have function with a callback, we can, as Alexei also mentioned, we should create this callback function again in our test case. We should check expected data, and we should also don't forget about the data with an error. If we would like to that if we will use our callback function without done, which helps us to finish our function after callback was called. So we will face with errors, but if we want see some errors in our code and we want to finish our callback function, we usually use done and put in there and calling this function with a result, and then it will be like in a like here we saw, then failed with done, right? So and if not, if it's expected we're not getting done any errors, just finish our callback function with successful result. So something like this. Okay, so this is the main, I think it's best approaches for how we can work with async await promises and callbacks. And let's get back to our presentation. Sorry, it's job. And let's talk a little bit about snapshot testing. I don't have experience with testing with a snapshot, so maybe guys help me with this. But what I can tell you, usually snapshot tests generates a snapshot of a component in a current state and store it in a folder named snapshots when you run the test. So next time after not like this. So when next time when we are changing our component or modify them, it's run the test. A new snapshot is taken if it fails, and yeah, a new snapshot is taken if it fails, which is clear, shows the differences between snapshot provided by the output of the component. If the test fails, we can either accept or reject the changes and modify the component accordingly. How snapshot test done, you may ask, right? So the snapshot test is usually we might add to our project. Where is my console? Where? I can't see it. Strange. Where is my terminal? Here. Ah, I see. Oh, sorry. Incorrect. Right now. Now, I will show you that snapshot is npm. You might install to React test render. I don't remember. No, test render. Yeah, from this library, and you might use this. Okay. Incorrect version in my computer. I will just show you how it looks on this example. So here, just a really basic example. We are in our component, we are import our React, importing our render from React test render, and here is our component. And we are writing our test for the component. If the component render with some content and title, we create our tree with the we're putting in a snapshot, right? Not like this. We're creating tree and putting this tree to our snapshot. So as I mentioned before, the snapshots usually, I found any examples actually. Yes, snapshots. So you could see here, like we have snapshot folder in our test folders, and usually just have like this. This is a snapshot of the A component from his project. So what kind of structure, not structure, maybe better. So once again, maybe about snapshot. Typically, snapshot test cases renders a UI component. They take the snapshot, then compare it to a reference snapshot file store alongside the test. The test will fail if the two snapshots do not match. Either the change is unexpected, or the reference snapshot needed to be updated to the new version of the UI component. So that's how snapshot testing is working usually. Guys, maybe you might provide better examples, but that's what I just didn't implement my new examples from my side. But this is a snapshot for some component. That's how it will works and looks in a file. So here we are, in this project was tested links, and they are put in a snapshot folder with snap extension. Here, like simple snapshot for the clock, as we could see here. This is how it looks. What I can add about snapshot, this snapshot artifact should be committed along the code changes and reviewed as a part of our code in the review process. Just use a pretty format to make snapshot human readable during the code review. On subsequent test runs, just will compare the rendered output with the previous snapshot. If they match, the test will pass. If they don't match, either the test runs found a bug in your code that should be fixed, or the implementation has changed and the snapshot needs to be updated. Yeah, some kind of this. Yeah, something that's maybe all about. Guys, maybe you might add something about snapshot test.
Yeah, you told everything right, because snapshot in React contains only props, mostly props with the values and types. So when you, for example, have a button component and change something like styles or handler or name of the prop, so snapshot will be updated, and when you will review your pull request, you can see if is everything fine with your component, because snapshot shows you the props and the types. So you check these types. If you make a mistake, snapshot will be, for example, prop name for button will be undefined in the snapshot, and you will find the error or issue, and you can fix it. So you told everything right.
Okay. So maybe that's it for today. Maybe you have, I have actually router testing. Here we have some example about the company and how we can test this router. Yeah, don't, you, as I understand, we, for routing testing, we are using, what we are using actually, React testing library, as I remember, right? Here, the example of the simplest, let me take a look, sidebar. We have here a sidebar, component of sidebar, where we what? When we clicking on a button, expand, we are changing our toggle expand value, and seems like our list should be appears or disappears from the screen, right? How we can check it? We just we have a render component, memory router. We are using them in order to check our sidebar, and when we click to the button, we expect that this component will be opened. Yeah, that's all. That's definitely all for today. Maybe about routing testing you might add, because it's better to see more, maybe examples on projects, if from my perspective, in order to check how routing test works. Okay, Lёša?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have, as usually, huge conversation.
You wrote a lot of text here. I hope it's
Yeah. Guess have a make new test case now public on SRC. I don't know what you discuss on your folders, but about your folders in the project, but you just remember that the better approach, maybe it's two approaches. I don't know, maybe Alexei might mention some kind of this, but the test usually need to separate from the component in separate folder. So usually we're creating in our project, like in our SRC or public, we usually don't touch any, as I remember, right? Usually here we create in the test folder and put in here our test files, all test files, because or in test folder or in component, and inside of component we might create some navbar, and for this navbar we will create the component itself and the test for this. I've met with these two approaches. So, or you put in your test inside of each component, or you put in test in a separate folder. Basically, in separate folder is better because it's easier to find where all tests, or just exact, some specific tests. So something like this.
Yeah, I can mention that I